Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Intermediate Second Year Physics webinar series. We are in Unit 7, Moving Charges and Magnetism. Our presenter, Sri N.V. Subramaniam Garu, PGT Physics, Telangana Model School and Junior College, Turkapalli, Adadri Bongiri District, is with us to present the third part of Moving Charges and Magnetism. Today, sir will be explaining about solenoid, toroid, and various other concepts related to that. Sir, good morning. Please welcome to the session.
Good morning.
Please take over the session.
Yes. Respected Principal Madam and Coordinator Shailaja Madam, Principals and students attending the webinar session. Good morning all of you. Today we are presenting the Moving Charges and Magnetism Part 3 of the webinar series. In the earlier webinars for this Moving Charges and Magnetism, we have dealt with magnetic field of a straight wire, magnetic field due to circular loop, magnetic field due to current carrying coil also. You know that loop means one turn, coil means many turns are there in that. Okay, so we have studied about Biot-Savart's law, Ampere's law and their applications. Today we are going to see a magnetic field calculation for solenoid and toroid. So these two are a special type of coils. We will be using them in our applications in our daily life. Let us see where we are using them and how to calculate the magnetic field for these particular solenoid and toroid cases. Learning objectives for this particular session. We will be studying about magnetic field of solenoid, magnetic field of toroid. Then in the last part of this particular webinar, we will be studying about motion of a charged particle in a uniform magnetic field. Okay, so these are the things what we are going to deal in this particular webinar. Recall the information what we have learned earlier. On the axis of a circular current carrying coil, that is loop, B is mu naught by 2 IR square by x square plus R square whole to the power of 3 by 2. Here x is the distance of the point from the center. R is the radius of that coil. And if there are n turns, we will write the same formula as mu naught by 2 NIR square by x square plus R square whole power 3 by 2. At the center of circular current carrying loop, the formula for magnetic field is B is mu naught I by 2R. If there are n turns, it will become mu naught Ni by 2R. Okay, so Ampere circuital law, once again we are revisiting because we will be using the Ampere circuital law in this particular webinar also. The circulation integral B dot dl of the resultant magnetic field along a closed plane curve is equal to mu 0 times the total current I crossing the area bounded by the closed curve. Integral B dot dl is equals to mu 0 into I. Mu 0 is the permeability of free space. Okay, so these are the things what you have already learned earlier. Let us use them again here in this particular webinar. On the screen you are seeing a solenoid, children. So it is in the form of a spring, you see all of it. Okay, so a solenoid is actually a wire wound closely in the form of a helix. Spring is generally known as helix, children. The path is nothing but helix or helical path. Okay, this shape is there, no? This shape is generally referred as helix. Now, if I pass the current in this, by giving some battery connection, what will happen? What is the importance of this solenoid? That is what we want to understand. Now, for example, imagine that there is a battery connection given here. Okay. We are giving some battery connection. Like I will show you here. You see all of you. If I give battery connection, what will happen? Current starts flowing. Yes or not? Current starts flowing. So that from plus it will flow and it will go like this. Current, okay, it will come like this and go inside here and again like this, like this. That means current keeps flowing in the direction shown. So when current starts flowing, magnetic field is produced due to the solenoid. You know that any current carrying wire produces magnetic field. Already we have shown how are the magnetic field lines for a straight wire, for a circular loop, for a solenoid. All these things we have shown with activity in our earlier webinars. You can refer also. Okay, so in this particular solenoid, I can send some current and I can produce a magnetic field. And whenever magnetic field is produced, we know that there will be two poles. One is north pole, another one is south pole. So the two poles can be created in the solenoid as shown here. You see this example. Okay, see here, all of you. If you see carefully, this is a small GIF animation. If you see carefully, if the current is flowing in one direction, magnetic field lines are going in one fashion. If I reverse the current, you see the ammeter. If the pointer is reversing, field lines are also reversing. That means what is the meaning of this? If you are sending the current in one direction, magnetic field will be acting in one fashion. If you send the current in opposite direction, magnetic field direction also will get reversed. So how to map the magnetic field lines? That is what we want to know. Okay. So for that purpose, here if you see carefully, I have shown the solenoid, children. Okay. How is the current flowing in the solenoid? It is like this. It is coming like this. Yes or not? That means if you see carefully, I will just mark for you so that the direction is clear. At these points, it is coming outside. Okay, at these points, magnetic field is coming outside. Whereas at these points, it is going inside. Okay, so this is inside. Okay, now keep your right hand like this. Okay, and you rotate your fingers like this. On the top, the rotation of fingers should be such a way that it represents the field current direction. It represents the current direction. Now, if you see carefully, the current is coming like this. And at the bottom, it is going inside. At the top part, current is coming outside. And at the bottom part, current is going inside. And then thumb represents the direction of the magnetic field. You see all of you, how is the magnetic field? See the lines? They are flowing from left to right. Yes or not? They are flowing from left to right. So the right side behaves as a north pole, left side behaves as a south. Then you are asking, sir, how you are coming to that conclusion? Remember the magnet, children. In our school level, we studied about magnet. Yes or not? When you studied about the magnet, we have studied about the magnetic field lines of the magnet. Yes or not? How are the magnetic field lines? They start from North Pole, they go to the South Pole. Like, right or not? So one more I am drawing for your understanding. That means if the field lines are going into that pole, that side is south pole. If the field lines are going out of the pole, that is north pole. This logic you remember. If you remember this logic, your explanation will be clear. So now you tell me the current. If it is like this, then right side of the screen will be north pole, left side will be south. Student can easily now tell if the current direction is reversed, then you can get left side north pole, right side south. So only two situations can exist, children, in the solenoid. Okay, these are the two possible situations. The field can go from left to right, or the field can go from right to left. Only two possible situations can arise in the solenoid. Now, if you see carefully the field lines, I want to tell one more important point. You see here we have written something. Magnetic field is approximately uniform inside. It is approximately uniform inside. Okay, so this is one important application of a solenoid. If you want a uniform magnetic field, you can use a solenoid. And one more important thing is, in this diagram only, I will be using this diagram only for deriving the magnetic field, children. Now you see carefully, here the current is coming outside. Outside current means I must show by dot. Yes or not? Again, here also it is outside. Again, I will show by dot. Okay. Now you tell me, all of you. Here also it is outside. Right? Now once again I will show. Here also it is dot. Here also it is dot. Here also it is dot. I am putting dot means current is coming outside like this. Okay. And here the current is going inside. So I must put cross. So these are the technical notations we will be using. All science physics students compulsorily should remember this technical notation. In the textbook, he will just give dot and into. Then you will be wondering what is this pattern. Okay. The dot and into are symbolic of the current flow. Dot will show that the current is coming out of the paper at that point. See here, at these points, the current is flowing out of the paper. That means like this, outside. And at the bottom of the coil, that is solenoid, the current flows inside. That means represented by intos. So I will show you one diagram for that. You see here, 1 minute. See this diagram. This is all dots, here all intos. What does that mean? At the top, there will be current coming outside. At the bottom, current will be going inside. So this is actually a solenoid only. Okay, this is actually solenoid only. So I want to now calculate the magnetic field due to the solenoid. Now solenoid, if you see carefully, how are the turns? They are circular. In this particular solenoid, we have considered circular turns. These are not circular turns. You see carefully. Red line you are seeing, they are the turns of the solenoid. They are circular in nature. Right or not? So for this particular situation, I am considering, let us say, any two adjacent turns, children. Adjacent, I can tell, are neighboring. Neighboring means which are beside each other. Like that, two turns you take, any two turns. Okay. So For example, I am considering, let us say, you see now, everybody. Let us say I am having, this is one turn of that solenoid. Here current is coming outside, here current is going inside. This is another turn of the solenoid. Again outside, again inside. Okay? Are you clear? So, in such a situation, in this also current is flowing, same current I, here also same. Now tell me, if I treat them as two circular current loops, for this one also there will be magnetic field, for this one also magnetic field will be there. How will the magnetic field will be around it? Like this. I am showing by dotted line, you see. This dotted line you are seeing. Okay. This is the magnetic field line for this coil around in this particular region, let us see. For this one, 1 minute. For this one, tell me, how will the field line be? Yes? Am I right? So here, like this, here, like this. Is this clear, all of you? Yes, children? So I want you to concentrate at this point, which is, this point is outside. Let us not, this point is outside. Let us say I am considering some point here. 1 minute. This point is somewhere, like let us say, take the point here. At this point, what is happening? There are going to be two magnetic fields. One is acting like this, one is acting like this. Okay? That means actually that arrow is like that, but you must imagine like this. Like this. That means at this point, this dot I'm showing to you, at this point, there are two magnetic fields which are equal and opposite. They cancel each other. That means at an outside point, outside the solenoid, okay, if the point is outside, okay, point is outside the solenoid, then at the outside point, at which point? At outside point, the fields, the magnetic fields due to adjacent, I can tell, or neighboring loops, I can tell, or terms, they cancel. Why they are cancel? I am telling, I have already shown to you. But you see one more important thing. Then what about the point inside? If the point is inside, the field is going to be in the same direction for this one and this one. Now I am showing that these loops are far away from each other. But if I start bringing the loops very close to each other, then what happens, children? When the loops are coming very close to each other, then at outside point anyhow field will become 0, but inside point fields will get added. That means it will be in the same direction. When the turns become very close to each other, the field will be in the same direction for inside points. So whatever points are inside the solenoid, let me draw the solenoid, children, for all of you. So this is the solenoid. Okay. For points which are inside, I am showing inside points. These are all inside points. You see here. These are all what type of points? Inside the solenoid. For these inside points, the fields are going to be in the same direction. That means the field is going to be same and it's going to be a uniform, approximately uniform. So same direction, same magnitude. That is what is very important analysis. So for any point which is outside the solenoid, the field becomes 0. So now you tell me, if a point is taken here, let us call this point as P1. Here also one point I am taking, P2, P3, P4, like that. So these are all outside points. For all outside points, field becomes 0 because neighboring turns, magnetic field will get cancelled at outside point. Whereas at inside points, fields are getting added up. So this explanation, please remember, children. Okay. Now, if you see carefully, whatever I have explained to you, I have put here. If the solenoid is circular, the length is large compared to radius. This I already told you. The magnetic fields at an outside point due to the adjacent loops, adjacent means neighboring, loops mean turns, oppose each other. That means they are opposite to each other. Whereas at an inside point, the fields are in the same direction. The magnetic field inside a very tightly wound long solenoid is uniform everywhere and is 0 outside it. Very important. Very important. Zero magnetic field for points outside. And for inside point, it is, this is everywhere means if you leave the outside points, what is left of inside? So for inside points, the field is uniform. Okay, the magnetic field inside a very tightly wound long solenoid is uniform everywhere and is 0 outside it. I hope you understood this. So now I will derive the magnetic field formula for inside point. For that purpose, I am considering a closed loop PQRS, children. Now you see all of you, this is the solenoid. This is actually our solenoid, children. Don't forget, like this. Shall I draw and show? Okay. This is our solenoid. Okay. So you must remember that the wire is there. Wire should be always imagined. And here current is coming outside. Here current is going inside. These are all the points where current goes inside. These are all the points where current comes outside. Okay, all of you. So in the textbook, they will show like this only. Just they will give dots at the one side, intos at the another side. Then you must remember that the current flow will be as shown. Okay. So this is a solenoid with number of turns per unit length is how much? N, small n. So this we will use in the later part of our derivation, children. Please remember. Okay. So I have considered the closed loop PQRS. Now from P to Q, this part is there now, from P to Q. Let the length is how much? I am taking L. So in the diagram, PQ length is how much? L, children. Okay. PQ length is L. So for the part, if you observe carefully, this is outside the solenoid. This region is where? Outside the solenoid. That means for the outside part, anyhow, in the region SR, field will be what? 0. Remaining how many parts are there for us? PQ, then QR, SR, RS, and SP. Now, do you remember Ampere's law, children? Yes. Do you remember Ampere's law? What does Ampere's law tell to us? Integral B dot dl is equals to mu 0. Let me erase and write clearly. Mu 0 into I. How do we calculate B dot dl? B dl cos theta, where cos theta is the angle between what and what? Cos theta, theta is the angle between B and dl. And what is dl actually? It is a small part of the curve we are considering. Yes or not? Small part of the curve we are considering. Now, if you see carefully, I'll just go back here. I will use an empty slide. Now, you are having your diagram like this, right? Yes. This is our solenoid cross section. This is our PQRS. Okay. PQRS. Right or not? Now, for PQ part, which is inside, that I will calculate a little later. First, consider QR, magnetic field of QR. Okay, which part? QR. Now, QR, if I imagine as each of length dl, small parts, then if I draw tangent like this, okay, dl tangent is like this, magnetic field is like this. They are like this. Then what is the angle between them? How many degrees? 90 degrees. That means I will get BDL cos 90. For which part? For the part QR. And is equals to what I will get? Mu naught. What is cos 90? 0. 0 into anything? 0. That means for the part QR, the magnetic field is 0, children. Okay. And in the part, in the region SP, there also you will get again 90 degrees. For that also magnetic field is 0. Okay. Along this line, along this path. Then I already told that RS path is outside. For that also magnetic field is 0. So this is SP. I'm sorry. This is SP. For SP also theta should be 90 degrees. Okay. Then what about RS part? For RS part also magnetic field is 0. That means for 3 parts magnetic field is 0. Then how many parts I am left with? You tell me. I am left with only one part to calculate. What is that part? PQ part. Okay. For PQ part. So now you remember that our magnetic field calculation is only for PQ part, remaining part. So although the closed loop is considered for 3 sides, that is 3 parts, QR, RS and SP, magnetic field is 0. Excuse me. To calculate the magnetic field at any point P inside the solenoid, draw a closed loop PQRS. The line PQ is parallel to the axis of the solenoid and is parallel to the magnetic field inside the solenoid. That is visible already. See the lines. These are the magnetic field lines. And this is the direction of the magnetic field. So PQ and magnetic field are parallel to each other. That means if I take DL part of this particular, what is it? DL. DL part of this PQ. And if I draw tangent, the DL and B will be parallel to each other. Then the line PQ is parallel to the axis. So what happens is, if I apply Ampere's law, integral B dot dl is equal to mu naught NLI. Why NLI, children? You know that one turn carries current how much? I. One turn carries current how much? I. Right or not? So, this is a solenoid. Yes? Right or not? Now, what is the assumption we made? Number of turns per unit length is n. That is the assumption we made. And how much length is there here? You see all of you? L. That means in this region, the number of turns will be how much? NL. If I take a length L region, then number of turns will be how much? NL in that. Okay, these are the number of turns for length how much? L. You know meaning of this? Number of turns per unit length? What is the meaning of that? For 1 meter, there are how many turns? N turns. Like that for L meters, how many turns will be there? You tell me. Simple calculation, N into L. Okay, then you know that one turn carries current how much? One turn, the current is how much? I. Then for NL turns, the current will be how much? NL into I. Okay, that means actually Ampere's law is, you know Ampere's law is B dot dl is equals to mu naught I. But this is, if I write mu naught into only I, then it will be only for one turn. But I am having already NL turns, no. Then for all the turns put together, I must consider the current. That means for the length L, the total current will be actually this I must now write as, for the turns under consideration, I must write as mu naught NL into I. Okay, am I clear, children? Yes. Then already just now we are telling the B and DL are parallel. If B and D are parallel, then I will get B DL cos 0, because angle becomes 0, is equals to Ampere's law, mu naught NL into I. What is the value of cos 0, children? 1. Then I will get BDL, okay, is equals to mu naught. Right? Now, you know that B is a constant. Inside that solenoid, at inside points, it is uniform, we were telling, approximately uniform. So write it outside. Then I will get BDL is equals to mu naught. Then you know that here, integral DL is always equals to what? L. Then I will write B is equals to, that is B into L is equals to, here, this is a minute. Just a minute, children. This is NLI, so not for N turns, right? So, this is, if you see, NLI. Okay, here also NLI. And BL is mu naught NLI. Okay, 1L cancel. Then I am left with what? B is equals to mu naught NI. This is the expression for magnetic field at inside point, and at outside anyhow magnetic field is 0. So I hope the explanation is clear to all of you. This is what I am putting here in the text form so that everybody can copy. Okay. So first step, B dot dl is mu naught NLI. Second step, B dot dl cos 0 mu naught. Why I took cos 0? Because angle is 0. Cos 0 value 1. and B is constant. So write outside. Integral dl is what? L. So BL is mu naught NLI. Or B is what is the formula? You tell me, all of you. Mu naught Ni. So we have successfully calculated magnetic field of solenoid. And where do we use this solenoid, children? This, you might have seen in the diagnostic centers. It is an MRI machine. Okay, for diagnosis purpose, you will use MRI. MRI meaning M for magnetic, R for resonance, I for imaging. Magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, it is a diagnostic tool and it uses a large solenoid. You see, in an MRI machine, a large magnetic field is produced by the cylindrical solenoid surrounding the patient. So, surrounding the patient, you know that the patient will lie on the bed and he will be moved inside this particular region, hollow region, and that region will contain a magnetic field and it will be used for MR, that is diagnostic purposes. Okay, so whatever we are learning, it is not useless, children. It has number of applications and you must look for more applications. Just dry learning if you do, you will not enjoy the science at all. You must always look for application. So let me go to the next one, toroid. So a toroid is like this, very easy. See here. An insulating part is there. This blue colored is insulating part. And we have wound the wire around that insulating part. Okay, around that insulating. Is this clear? So this particular arrangement is called toroid. What is that called? Toroid. So I am considering a toroid of how many turns? Total number of turns is n. Right? And you see this yellow color markings are the turns on the toroid. The current is going in like this and coming out like this. At the screen you are seeing I current is going in and I current is coming out. That means you can imagine battery connection. Left side plus, right side minus. Now, whenever I start sending the current, immediately magnetic field will be produced. Okay? Our interest is to calculate the magnetic field due to this solenoid. Okay? Due to this solenoid. Actually, what happens is, if you consider this, due to this toroid. So, due to this toroid, we have to calculate magnetic field. Where we have to calculate magnetic field, we know that there are three possible regions under consideration. One region, let us say here, okay, one region outside, okay, one region in here, in this empty space. Let us call this as region number 1, region number 2, region number 3. Region number 2 and region number 3, magnetic field is 0, children. Okay, region number 2 and region number 3, magnetic field will be 0. Okay, so using Ampere's law, we can prove that is for the region 2 and for the regions 3, magnetic field will be 0. Okay, so the remaining will be how many regions? Only one region will be remaining. That is for the point 1. What is the magnetic field at inside region of this particular solenoid? This is inside region. I am showing by dotted lines. Okay, for the inside region, what is the magnetic field value? That is what is our consideration. Okay, now let us see. For the inside point, I am taking one inside point. That yellow color dot you are seeing, that is one inside point. Okay. The point I am naming it as P. What is the distance of this point from the center? R. To calculate the magnetic field at the point P, I am considering a circular curve which is passing through this point. Is this a closed curve? Circle means closed curve only. Yes or not? Circle means automatically closed curve. So when I am taking a closed curve, I can apply Ampere's law, circuital law. Our circuital law, what does it tell? Integral B dot dl is equals to mu 0. Now, these are, if you see dots, let us say each is length dl. And magnetic field is going to be tangential for this curve. It is going to be tangential. That means B and dl are going to be parallel to each other at each and every point inside. Then automatically theta value I must take as how many degrees? 0 degrees. And B value will be same for all points on this particular circle because they are equidistant points. See, distance is same, right or not? So now I will start applying the Ampere's law. Let P be a point inside the toroid. Let the distance of the point from the center is R. Okay. Continuation, let us see. Imagine a circle with radius R and concentric with the toroid. That is what we have drawn here. Okay. By symmetry, at all points on the circle, the magnetic field B will have same magnitude and is tangential everywhere to the circle. So B and dl will always be parallel. Okay. If the total number of turns is capital N, then the total current crossing the area bounded by the curve. Curve means circle. Is how much? Ni. You know, for one turn the current is I, children. Then for n turns, first starting only, what did I tell? The total turns are n. Then for the total n turns, the current is how much? Ni. Okay, now I will apply Ampere's law. So if the total number of turns is n, then the total current crossing the curve is already Ni. Then integral B dot dl is mu naught Ni, or B dl cos 0 is mu naught Ni. Here Ni value, please remember Ni. For one turn I, for n turns Ni current. Then what is cos 0, children? 1. So here cos 0 value I am taking is how much? 1. So B dl into 1 is mu naught Ni. And B is constant everywhere. So I can write it outside. B into integral dl is equal to mu naught Ni. Okay, children? Or I will finally get integral dl is what? L. Remember, I will write here. Integral dl is L. Yes or not? But L means length of the circle. Length of the circle is circumference. That means 2 pi r. So integral dl will be taken as 2 pi r. That means B into 2 pi r is equal to mu naught Ni. Or B is mu naught Ni by 2 pi r. What is B value? Mu naught Ni by 2 pi r. Are you clear? Yes, children? So this is the expression for magnetic field inside the toroid, created by the toroid. And I repeat once again, for points in this empty space inside the here, inside the solenoid here, inside the toroid, that is, this space you are seeing in the region of the toroid, their field will be 0. Okay, using Ampere's law, we can prove that field will be 0. Like that at outside point also field will be 0. Okay, because when you consider outside point, how much current goes inside, that much current will come outside, so field will be 0 here. Similarly, if you consider here also, I can prove that B is 0. That means I am remaining with only one particular region, which is this region inside the toroid. For that only we calculated this magnetic field. Are we clear, children? Okay. So now I have finished two derivations, one for solenoid magnetic field, one for toroid magnetic field. Are you clear, children? So I will move to the next topic for today, which is a very interesting topic. So here you are seeing that circular path. We are going to discuss about that circular path. That pink color circular path you are seeing in that instrument. That is interesting, yes or not? We will discuss about that. Okay, what is that and what is the importance of it? So we are discussing motion of a charged particle in a uniform magnetic field. You will get 2 marks questions on this topic, children. So we are considering a charged particle which is moving with velocity v inside a magnetic field which is in this direction. Okay, so I am considering a charged particle. Let us say the charge of the particle is how much? Q, children. It is entering a magnetic field. The magnetic field is uniform and it is in this direction. So magnetic field is like this and the charged particle is entering the magnetic field like this with velocity v, such that angle between both of them is how much? Theta. Then the magnetic field will produce a force F on the particle, and that F is given by formula Q V bar cross B bar. They have observed that the magnetic field will produce a force given by the expression F bar is equal to Q V bar cross B bar, cross product of velocity and magnetic field. So you know, all of you, if I keep the palm like this, what is this diagram showing to us? What is this palm show? What is this diagram showing to us? If you take the palm, field plane of the palm, B direction and V direction are like this. Then if you are rotating from V to B using right hand thumb rule, you can see that the force will be given by thumb direction. And force is perpendicular to both V bar as well as B bar. Okay, it will be given by right hand thumb rule, cross product. And if you know cross product correctly, you know, all of you in first year intermediate, A bar cross B bar is given by AB sin theta. Like that, V bar cross B bar will be given by VB sin theta. So F bar is equal to formula QVB sin theta. Q is the charge of the particle entering the magnetic field. V is its velocity. B is the magnetic field, uniform magnetic field. Theta is the angle between velocity and magnetic field. Okay, theta is the angle between velocity and magnetic field. Okay, and F is perpendicular to the plane of V and B. So consider a uniform magnetic field B in the direction shown. A charged particle Q enters the magnetic field with velocity V, making an angle theta with the direction of the magnetic field. Then a magnetic force acts on the particle. Okay, due to the magnetic field, there is a force on it. A magnetic force F acts on the particle, where F is given by Q V bar cross B bar or QVB sin theta. Okay, children. The magnetic force acts perpendicular plane containing V bar and V bar. Now I am going to tell you about two important special cases which have lot of importance in the field of science. First case, children, a charged particle Q enters the uniform magnetic field with velocity V perpendicular to it. That means magnetic field and velocity are perpendicularly acting. If you see carefully, see here children, this intus, you are seeing intus in the diagram. This intus shows that magnetic field is going inside the paper. And how is the charged particle movement? Such that the velocity is perpendicular to the magnetic field. How is the velocity perpendicular to the magnetic field? And when velocity and magnetic field are perpendicular, what happens? Let us discuss. Okay. So let us say Q is the charge of the particle and magnetic field is inside. That's what they told. Yes or not? This is our magnetic field, which is acting into the plane of the paper. So when the magnetic field is acting perpendicularly into the paper, what happens is, this is our magnet, this charged particle. Once it enters the magnetic field, force begins to act. How is the force? The force is, rule is, it is perpendicular to the plane containing V and V. That means force is perpendicular to velocity. And force is also perpendicular to magnetic field. These are the two rules you must remember. Now concentrate on the first one. Force is perpendicular to velocity. I want to tell one important point. In the first year, you learnt about uniform circular motion. Yes or not? Particle going in a circle. Velocity will be tangential. Velocity will be tangential. Then it will experience a centripetal force. What is the angle between these two? Tell me. That means the force which is perpendicular to velocity, force which is perpendicular to velocity acts like a centripetal force, children. Okay, so the magnetic field force is now acting like a centripetal force, and due to the action of the magnetic field force, it moves in a circle. It will move in a circle. Can you guess what is the direction of the force in this diagram? Velocity is like this. Okay. If you see carefully, 1 minute. Now tell me all of you. Magnetic field is inside, velocity is like this. Then how you will take the cross product? Keep the right hand in the direction of velocity. Velocity is going like this. Okay. Magnetic field is going inside. Then curl your fingers inside like this. Then you see current direction, that is thumb direction upwards. So not the force will be acting like this. For positively charged particle, it will be upwards. For negatively charged particle, it will be downwards. Why? Because Q will become minus Q. That is what is the direction here you see here. This is minus Q. If it is minus Q, force will be downwards. And that force will act as centripetal force, children. That is what I wanted to explain. That is the reason I explained with the help of the white screen. So this force acts as centripetal force and the particle will go in circular motion. It will follow a circular path. It will move in a circle, exact circle. Okay. So the particle undergoes uniform circular motion due to the magnetic field force F. F is QVB sin theta. And F is QVB sin 90 because theta is 90 degrees. So F is what? QVB. Sin 90 value is how much? 1. And continuing with that, the particle undergoes uniform circular motion due to the magnetic field force. And F is QVB. This magnetic field force acts as what type of force, children? Magnetic field force is acting as centripetal force. That means QVB must be equal to mv square by r. You know that centripetal force formula is what? Mv square by r. M is the mass of the charged particle. V is the velocity of the charged particle. R is the radius of the circular path. Yes or not? So, in the diagram, if you see carefully, in the diagram, particle moves in a circle. Yes or not? So, M is the mass of the particle. Okay, mass of the charged particle. What is V? Speed of the charged particle. That is velocity. And what is R? Radius of the circular path. Right or not? Radius of circular path. Circular. So now we know that the magnetic field force QVB acts as centripetal force. So QVB must be equal to mv square by r. Then if I cancel 1v on both sides, how much I am left with? mv by r is equal to QB. R you take left side, QB you bring right side. Bring this down, take this up. Okay. Then R is equal to mv by QB. This is a very important formula, children. This is the radius of the circular path followed by the charged particle. So I am putting it up again so that you can note down clearly in your notes. R is mv by QB. This is called radius of the circular path formula. What is this known as? Radius of circular path. Okay. Then continuing with the derivation, you know that V is R omega, where this omega is nothing but what? You studied first year, angular velocity. What is that? Angular velocity of the particle. Then you know you proved already in your first intermediate, V is R omega. So substitute that. R is equal. So in the place of V, what will come? R omega. Okay. This R I can cancel. Then what I am left with? This omega you keep here. This if I simplify, I will get. So QB will come this side. It will become QB is equal to M omega. In the after this step, then I can write omega is QB by M. This is the angular velocity of the charged particle. So omega is QB by M. And you know already last year in time period derivation you did know omega is 2 pi by time period. Capital T denotes time period. What is time period? Time for one revolution. So when it is already undergoing circular path, we understood. Then what is the time period? I want to know. So let the time period is capital T. So what is T here? Time period of revolution of the particle. So I will get, if I substitute, QB by 2 pi m is equal to 2 pi by T. So we know left sides are equal. I can equate right sides. QB by m is equal to 2 pi by T. QB by m is equal to 2 pi by T. So I can just cross multiply and simplify. Okay. Then I will get formula for time period. 2 pi m by QB. Capital T is what? 2 pi m by QB. And you know, all of you, if nu is the frequency of the particle, revolution of the particle, then time period is 1 by frequency. Everybody know. So 1 by frequency, substitute in this formula in the place of t. 1 by frequency is 2 pi by qb, 2 pi m by qb, or nu is equals to cyclotron frequency, nu is equals to qb by 2 pi m. So this frequency is known as cyclotron frequency. So what is a cyclotron? I will explain to you in the next webinar. Okay, but you remember that this particular frequency is referred as cyclotron frequency. So I hope you have noted down all the important points. All the important points I have marked in yellow color. Okay, please make a note of them. They are all very important for all entrance examinations. One of the very important topics for entrance examinations is the motion of charged particle in magnetic field. Then student will get another doubt. Sir, what if the charged particle is not entering at 90 degrees? It is entering at some another angle other than 90 degrees and 0 degrees. Okay, like let us say it is entering at 45 degrees angle. Then what will happen? Okay, so a charged particle Q enters the uniform magnetic field with velocity V such that velocity has a component along B value. Component along B value. So in the direction, if you are seeing carefully in the diagram, okay, in the diagram, your magnetic field is like this. Let me mark it for you children so that our explanation will be clear. So I am coming to the last and final point of the webinar session for today. This is the direction of magnetic field. See carefully. Okay. And this is the direction in which it is entering magnetic field. And this direction I can resolve into two components. If the angle between this and this is theta, then 1 minute. So you see carefully. This is the direction of the magnetic field, what we were showing. This is the direction in which the particle is entering the magnetic field, making angle theta. And this theta is not 90 degrees and it is not 0 also. Then I can resolve the velocity into two components. One is v cos theta as per your vectors. Another component I can resolve as v sin theta. And you know that this velocity and this magnetic field, yes, if I am taking anyhow, F is going to be Q V bar magnetic force. There will be magnetic force, no doubt. Okay, there will be magnetic force, children. And that will be acting as centripetal force, no doubt. But what happens is, this V cos theta component is going to be pushing the particle forward. So, in this case, what happens is, the particle completes the circle, it completes the circle because of the component V sin theta. And it moves forward because of the component V cos theta. That means it will be going like this. You are seeing this path. What is this path? So this magnetic field, this V cos theta component is forward component. No, that is pushing the particle forward in this particular situation. So when the theta is not 90 degrees and it is other than 90 degrees and 0 degrees, the V cos theta component makes the particle undergo a helical motion. This path is called helical path. Okay, what path? Helical path. such that the distance between the successive circular turns will be called as pitch. What is that called? Pitch. And it is, if I say it is along x-axis, then b cos theta is constant. Then this is becomes the distance traveled. Distance traveled is velocity into time. Then pitch will be written as, what is the velocity along the x-axis? V cos theta into time taken for completing one turn is called time period. Then pitch formula will be V cos theta into capital T. That is what I have put here. So please remember, children, if theta is exactly 90 degrees, then path will be, what will be the path of the charged particle? Circular path. Okay, if theta is other than 90 degrees, okay, and not 0 also, okay, then for any other angle theta other than 0, we will get path will be helix. That is, helical path will be there. What will be there? Helical path will be there. So this is the pitch of the helix, children. I hope you have noted down. So then the particle undergoes helical motion such that pitch will be V cos theta into time period. And already you know, all of you, here time period formula you remember, this time period 2 pi m by qb, that you can substitute there. Okay, this time period you can take from there. So here again the magnetic field force acts as centripetal force, and it makes it undergo circular motion, no doubt. You see the red circle, but because of the component V cos theta, this V parallel they wrote no here, that is V cos theta. It will be propelled forward, it will be pushed forward. So V sin theta component is making it undergo circular motion. V cos theta component is making it move forward. In this manner, the charged particle moves forward and undergoes helical motion. So here I want to tell two important points and close this webinar for today. Last and two final points. Then you studied that F is magnetic field force, or I can tell magnetic force on the charged particle. Q, V, B, sin theta. I am asking you, when is this force maximum? When is the force maximum? Okay. Answer simple, children. When sin theta becomes maximum, force becomes maximum. That means for theta is equal to 90 degrees, force is maximum. Okay. For minute. So if the theta value is maximum, that is 90 degrees, then implies force is maximum. Okay, that is F maximum is Q V B sin 90. Sin 90. What is the value of sin 90? 1. That means F maximum is Q V B. Okay, then immediately another question. If the theta is 0 or 180, if theta is 0 or 180, or 180 also, that means V is parallel to B. Okay, F is given by formula. Let us write the formula. Q V B sin 0. I can write sin 180 also. Sin 0 also 0, sin 180 also 0. This sin 0 is 0, children. 0 into anything? 0. Force is 0. That means if the velocity is parallel to the magnetic field, force is 0. First point. When is the magnetic field 0? Sorry, when is the magnetic force 0? If V is parallel to B. Another point, if velocity is 0 also, force will be 0. That means if the charged particle is not moving inside the magnetic field, then also force will be 0. These 2 points keep in mind. You will get important questions based on this. So I am done for today. Let us see what we have learned. Magnetic field inside a current carrying solenoid is B is mu naught Ni. Magnetic field inside a current carrying toroid is B is mu naught Ni by 2 pi r. Magnetic force acting on a charged particle when it enters a magnetic field is F is Q V bar cross B bar. To test your understanding, 2 questions. What is the expression for magnetic field inside a solenoid? What is the force on a charged particle of charge Q moving with velocity V entering uniform magnetic field of induction V? When does it become maximum? This is second question, is a question which is coming number of times in the public exam, children, for 2 marks. Please practice. Thank you, children. I sincerely thank my coordinator and principal, Shailaja Madam, for continued guidance and support. I also thank our campus principal, K. Sivaraj Garu, for continued support and encouragement. Thank my sincere thanks to our AD sir and JD sir for providing this platform. Thank you, children. Good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such a elaborative and engulfing session. The topic was very interesting and very important. Like there will be a little confusion as this is an abstract concept, and you have made it very clear, crystal clear by explaining each and every point, and you using your Wacom and doing handwritten. Excellent presentation, sir. Thank you very much. And children, the detailed explanation given by sir, I think it is very understandable. I hope all of you have understood. Still, if you have further queries or clarifications, please once again revisit this session and make your own notes. As we have always been saying, practice makes perfect. Please practice all the diagrams, be clear with the concepts. The fundamental concepts are very important as you go for competitive examinations also. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Good day, children.